There is something sacred about a woman who knows who she is, not because the world tells her, not because a man validates her, but because she knows, deep down in her soul, that she was created with intention. She was crafted by the hands of the Almighty, not as an afterthought, but as a masterpiece. A real woman doesn't chase trends. She doesn't bend herself just to fit into someone else's mold. Her value isn't determined by how many likes she gets or how many people approve of her. Her worth was spoken into existence long before anyone had an opinion. She carries herself with grace, not because life has been easy, but because she's been through the fire and came out refined, not burned. You can feel the difference when she walks into a room. She doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. She doesn't need to compete to be seen. Her confidence doesn't come from comparison, it comes from clarity. She knows who she is, she knows what she stands for, and more importantly, she knows what she will not stand for. This kind of woman isn't arrogant. She's aware that her heart is valuable, aware that her time is precious, aware that not everyone is meant to walk the path she's on. So she stops settling. She stops explaining herself to people who are committed to misunderstanding her. She doesn't beg to be chosen because she has already been chosen by the one who created her. You see, the world will try to put a price tag on her soul. It'll try to convince her that she's only as valuable as her appearance, her bank account, her relationship status. But a real woman, one who truly knows her worth, understands that her identity isn't for sale. Her dignity isn't up for negotiation. There are too many walking around wearing masks, pretending to be what the world wants them to be. But a real woman, she dares to be authentic. She dares to stand alone if it means standing for truth. She doesn't gossip to feel important. She doesn't tear others down to feel taller. She builds, she uplifts, she carries wisdom in her silence and power in her words. She's not perfect, but she's real. And in a world drowning in filters and facades, real is rare, and real is beautiful. So let me ask you, do you know your worth? Have you been letting the wrong voices speak over your life? Have you been compromising just to feel accepted? It's time to stop shrinking, stop settling, stop second-guessing who you were meant to be. You were not made to blend in. You were not made to be forgotten. You were made with divine fingerprints all over you. And when you finally realize your worth, you'll stop giving discounts to people who can't afford your value. A real woman knows her worth. Do you? True worth, my friends, is something that begins deep within the heart, not in the eyes of the world. The world will tell you that your worth is measured by the way you look, the title you hold, the money in your bank account, or the people who choose to stand with you in a moment of success. But I tell you today, none of these things are where your true worth lies. You see, a woman who knows her worth doesn't need to be defined by the shifting sands of this world. She doesn't chase after fleeting praises or try to fit into the ever-changing mold that society demands. The world may offer superficial standards, beauty, popularity, material success, but these are transient. They come and go like the winds of change, and they never offer lasting fulfillment. A real woman's worth is not bound by what the world sees at first glance. Her worth is not in the external things. It's not in the clothes she wears, the car she drives, or the number of followers she has. These things may bring temporary satisfaction, but they don't last. True worth, real worth, is something that no one can take from you, because it comes from a place that the world cannot touch. It comes from understanding that you were created with purpose, that you were formed in the image of the Creator Himself. Your value was established before anyone even knew your name. It was written in the stars and etched into the fabric of who you are. A real woman knows that her worth is not determined by the opinions of others or the standards of the world. It is determined by something far deeper, a truth that no one can erase. True worth comes from the quiet confidence that rests in the knowledge that you are enough, just as you are. It's an inner peace that can't be shaken by the latest trends or by the shifting tides of public opinion. It's a strength that comes not from outward achievements, but from knowing that your identity is secure in something far more eternal than anything this world can offer. So when the world whispers to you that you're not enough, or when it tells you to strive for what it says is valuable, remember that the voice of the Creator says otherwise. He whispers something different into the very core of your being. He says that you are priceless. He says that your worth is not for sale. And once you know this truth, it doesn't matter what the world says, because you have already found your true value. Strength, true strength, is not always about how loud you can speak or how many battles you can fight with sheer force. The world may tell you that strength is found in being tough, in showing no weakness, in conquering every obstacle with sheer determination and muscle. But real strength, the kind that lasts, is not measured by physical power or how much you can endure without breaking. It is found in grace. Grace is the quiet force that holds you up when everything around you is falling apart. It is the ability to respond with love instead of anger, with understanding instead of judgment. Grace doesn't need to boast about its power. It simply carries you through. It's the strength to forgive when you've been wronged, the courage to heal when you've been hurt, and the humility to know that your worth is not in how much you can bear on your own, but in the strength of the love and peace that flows through you from a source far greater than yourself. A real woman understands that her true strength lies in the ability to show grace in the hardest of circumstances. It's easy to be strong when life is going well, when everything is smooth and the path is clear, but when the storms of life come, when the world expects you to crumble under the pressure, grace is what keeps you standing. It's the grace to smile even when you're tired, to lift others up even when you're weighed down, to offer kindness in a world that often feels cold. True strength isn't about pride. It's not about proving how tough you are or how much you can do on your own. No, real strength is found in the quiet moments, when you choose love over hate, forgiveness over bitterness, understanding over judgment. It's about knowing that your worth doesn't depend on how many times you've been knocked down, but on how many times you've risen, showing grace to yourself and others along the way. Grace gives you the ability to remain humble even when you succeed, to stay grounded even when the world lifts you up. It is the power that makes you strong enough to endure the struggles, yet gentle enough to care for others who are struggling too. It is the strength that is never boastful, never self-centered, but always outward phomic, always willing to serve, always seeking peace. True strength doesn't demand to be seen. It doesn't seek recognition. It lives in the quiet actions of a woman who knows that her true power comes not from her force, but from the grace she extends, the love she shows, and the calm that she carries within, no matter what storms are raging around her. Grace is not weakness. It is the quietest, most powerful strength you will ever know, and a real woman understands that. She knows that in the end, grace is the strongest force of all. A real woman doesn't just set goals, she sets standards. Goals are good, yes, but they're often focused on the outcome, the destination. They're about achieving something, whether it's a career milestone, a personal accomplishment, or a success in some area of life. Goals can be reached and then they're done. But standards, my friends, are different. Standards are the foundation upon which a woman builds her life. They aren't about what she accomplishes, they are about how she lives, who she is, and how she expects to be treated. A real woman knows that her value is not found in the things she achieves or the title she holds. She understands that she is worthy because of her character, her integrity, and her choices. She sets standards for herself that reflect the worth she knows she possesses. She doesn't just aim for success, she aims for significance. And that significance is found in her commitment to live by her own high standards, not by the fleeting pressures and expectations of the world around her. When she sets standards, she is saying, this is who I am, this is how I choose to live, this is what I believe, and I will not compromise on it. Her standards are not just about professional success or personal gain. They are about how she treats others, how she handles challenges, and how she remains true to her beliefs and values no matter the circumstances. She doesn't lower her standards to fit in, and she doesn't diminish her worth to meet someone else's expectations. Instead, she raises the bar and invites others to rise with her. A real woman doesn't wait for the world to tell her what she deserves. She knows. She sets her standards high because she knows she deserves the best that life has to offer. She understands that what she accepts in her life will define the course of her journey. She does not settle for relationships that drain her, jobs that don't fulfill her, or environments that do not encourage her growth. She knows that she is a reflection of the standards she chooses to uphold. A woman who knows her worth does not tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or mediocrity. She is unapologetic about what she will and will not accept, and she has the strength to walk away from what does not align with her standards. She knows that there is a price for settling, and that price is her peace, her self-respect, and her joy. So she sets her standards and she holds firm, not out of arrogance, but out of a deep understanding of her own value and what she deserves. It's easy to set goals. They're tangible, they're measurable, and they give us something to strive for. But standards shape the very essence of who you are. They are not just something you achieve, they are something you live by, something you stand for. A real woman doesn't just set goals to succeed, she sets standards to live with purpose and integrity, to build a life that reflects her deepest values and aspirations. And in doing so, she doesn't just change her own life, she inspires everyone around her to reach for something higher. As we reflect on the strength, grace, and standards of a real woman, let us remember that her worth is not defined by the fleeting opinions of the world. A real woman understands that her true value comes from within, rooted in her character, her integrity, and her relationship with the Creator. She knows that strength is not just in power, but in the grace she extends, in the love she gives, and in the way she carries herself with dignity through life's trials. She sets her own standards not to impress or please anyone, but to honor her own worth and the calling she has in this world. She doesn't compromise on what she knows is right, and she doesn't settle for less than she deserves. In every decision she makes, in every relationship she nurtures, in every challenge she faces, she walks with a quiet yet unshakable confidence, because she understands the power that comes from knowing who she is and the worth she holds. So, to all the women listening today, never forget this truth. You are not defined by what others think of you, by what you've done, or by what you don't have. You are defined by who you are, by the standards you set, and by the grace and strength that live within you. Your worth is immeasurable, your potential is limitless, and your impact on this world is far greater than you may ever realize. Stand firm in your truth, know your worth, and never let anyone make you believe you are anything less than extraordinary.